Heads up to my military friends and all those, you understand what I mean by head. The terminology in the military we used, if you're going to the head bench, you're going to the toilet. Excuse my surroundings, right? Toilet. I thought this was an appropriate place to come and talk to you a little bit, give you a heads up, maybe about some of these things that are going on, give you a little red flag. A lot of you out there, and I'm going to try and make this brief, a lot of people out there looking for truth and searching for whatever it is you're searching for out here on YouTube. It is YouTube, right? Basically, there's a lot of people teaching and preaching and sharing all kinds of concepts, everything from political views to religious views to, I mean, just you name it, conspiracies and theories of every type. And a lot of people out there really don't know where to look for truth. Most of my videos, yeah, I mean, you all know my background a little bit, and know that I have sort of a concept or maybe a little bit of a message that I try and put out there, and just basically to share with folks my own experiences and things that I've gone through, or things that, well, basically, you know, I've had some my own supernatural experiences. We'll just leave it at that. And you know, I'm not out here teaching you spiritual awakenings and all of this kind of garbage. But I don't run ads usually on my videos. Sometimes they get on there because somebody else said there's a copyright on some music or something. I don't know. But for the most part, I've never asked for nothing. I don't get nothing off of YouTube. Never have. Don't plan to. It is really just sort of an outlet for me to voice an opinion from time to time, and basically to try and get people to wake up and think for themselves. I can tell a blind man about the colors of the rainbow, and you know, if it's a blind man, he's just not going to see those colors. And trying to explain sometimes reality to folks is like trying to explain to a blind man the magnificent colors, and they're just not going to see it. Or maybe a person who was born deaf, trying to tell them about the wonderful sounds of orchestrated music, or the birds singing, or anything along that line. And a deaf person, you know, I mean, is not going to comprehend or understand what it is that we're trying to explain. Although the sounds are real, and although the colors are vibrant and real, a blind or a deaf person is not going to comprehend what it is that you're trying to say. And therefore a person who has lack of experience in certain realms of existence or certain categories of life, that lack of experience alone is going to keep them blind and deaf. They're not going to see or hear the reality that you present right in front of their face. The majority of people don't want to know anything other than what they have perceived for themselves. Every man's ways is right in his own eyes, unfortunately. Which brings me to the point of the heads up and the red flags. And I'm just trying to get you to listen. Share the video, sure. Yeah, pass this around, thumb it up, favorite it, whatever you want to do. But the idea is to help share the message. To get people to tone down from the fear and tone down from perhaps the anxieties and the tension and those things, because it is sort of a negative energy. Now I sound like a New Ager, right? But it is true. We're not supposed to take thought for tomorrow, what we're going to eat or drink, or even what we're going to wear. You know, we can stress ourselves. Number one killer is stress, even more than the guns or the alcohol. In reality, stress is the number one doer. And anyway, it's sort of an uncomfortable place to be sitting right here on the throne, right? In these old used to was heads, if you will. So anyway, I'm going to tell you a few things that you might be able to post up some red flags to help yourself in your journey to look for truth. One, if somebody out here is trying to sell you something, not just an idea or a concept or a theory, but if they're trying to literally make a buck off of you, if they're pushing their books and their literature, or I don't know, maybe even they're trying to sell you a shirt or a coffee mug or whatever it is that people are trying to push out there to make a buck. You know, that's okay. If that's their way of making a living, YouTube, if you can make some money on it, that's fine. You know, everybody's worthy of their hire, I suppose. But if they're teaching you garbage or telling you stuff that's not true, then you might want to really be a little leery. Anyone that's telling you their way is the only way, the right way, 100%, without giving you any kind of background or telling you to look for yourself, to study for yourself, study to show yourselves approved. You know, everybody can talk, and talk is cheap. Whether or not you actually absorb everything. And people will thumb things down just because of the simple fact they either don't want to hear it, or they don't understand it, they can't comprehend it. Everybody is so twisted anymore because they've been dumbed down, unfortunately. But anyway, a couple of flags. If people's trying to sell you something and make a buck off of you and take money from you, then you might want to be a little leery, because that's exactly what the big televangelists do, or the people on the television, the mass media. I mean, they're only there telling you what they tell you because they're getting paid to tell you. They're reading the scripts and they're doing all that. There's no real journalistic reporting because they don't want to jeopardize their job. If they overstep the boundaries, and you can look into it. I mean, there have been journalists that really have tried to be a whistleblower, as it were, and end up without any job. So people are job scared in this economy. Another thing as a flag is if you're watching YouTube videos and you're out here and you're following after an individual, and it doesn't matter who they are or what they're teaching, but if they're the kind of person who is very arrogant or prideful, in other words, if they only, I'll give you an example, something to look for. Go in there and see what kind of videos they favorite. If they're favoriting things that could give you tidbits of information from other sources or from other YouTubers or whatever it is, then maybe you want to listen a little and see what it is that they're showing you or what they're watching, things like that. But if their favorites are all their own stuff, if they're favoriting their own, then they're almost like the big Obama guy, the narcissism that goes in with that. Narcissists are people who are prideful and arrogant, even though they would argue the fact they're not, and that's sort of a flag in itself, isn't it? But if people are actually favoriting only their own material, I favorite all kinds of stuff till you go look for yourself. I really, on my thing it says, hey, if you forgot me, you ain't lost nothing, and that's the truth. I'm the dirt that we're all made out of. I'm the dirt that you walk on. I'm nothing, and that's a fact. So don't get it in your head that I know it all, because I don't. I'm a human being just like anybody else, and we are guaranteed to make mistakes from time to time. If I tell you something, I usually do try and give you a source or a background or a personal life experience. But there's a lot of these so-called out there telling you what God has told them, or what they what messages they're getting from whatever sources they get it from, and they're not telling you the reality. They're going to tell you that you can go this way or that way, and all of these things, as long as you're focused on them, and they're sometimes twist and manipulate certain things like scripture or political views or things like that. And there's a lot of them that are into racism. There's just all these little negative flags that should go up in your head if you're really trying to seek truth and watch for yourself. So again, if someone's trying to peddle something, if they're trying to make a buck, or they're trying to sell you something, that's a flag. And again, don't get me wrong, if that's their business and that's what they're doing, that's fine. But if they're trying to sell you something and make their numbers go up, if they're exaggerating things or sensationalizing things just to get you to tune in, to build their numbers up so that they can make the number or money off of the subscriber base. If they're twisting and manipulating, in other words, there's an old scripture that says, in end days or in the last days that people would heap to themselves teachers with itching ears. And that means, teachers that will tell you whatever you want to hear if you will just give in to their pride and their arrogance. If you'll follow them, they want to be told how good they are. Don't tell me I'm good. They want to be told how wonderful or how wise or how smart. Don't tell them that, because nobody on this earth, and I don't care who you are and what planet, or what planet. Yeah, some of you are out there on some other planets. I'll give you that. Okay, but I don't care what nation, what continent you're on. Because we're all the same. It doesn't matter if you're a political high up, if you're some banker elite, if you're a member of the Bohemian Club. It doesn't matter if that's where you're at in society. I'm going to tell you what, there is no blue blood, there is no royal blood. I mean, if you really follow back and see the history that puts people into the positions where they're at, they're there because of manipulation. They're there because of crookedness, lies, and deceit. And of course, with the money and the power and the cheating and all of the things, people can really get up on the top line. And the problem is everybody in this society is so greedy and they're so wanting more. You can give them something and they're going to want more. And so they will step on your head and step on your neck and stomp you down just so they can get that almighty dollar. Which brings me to another point. People are out here telling you, stock up on gold and silver. There's old scriptures about that too, that they will heap to themselves gold and silver, which cankers and goes old. People are looking for this nickel and that nickel and the dollar, and they're going to tell you about this money, the dollar bill, the American, the paper money, the stuff that's not backed by gold anymore. It's not backed by silver anymore. It is a monetary that is going away. And so they say, well, you better have some real solid money if you're going to get out here and trade and barter. And I'm going to tell you what, put this in your mind, because there's a day coming, and there is a day coming, where they're going to throw the gold and silver to the streets. I'm going to tell you, if a nuclear explosion were to take place in your city, or even the city next to you, or the state next to you, or the territory next, whatever, you let those things start going off, and I'm going to tell you what, that gold and silver ain't going to do a whole lot. You're worried about buying up ammunition. Well, guess what? They're setting that where you can't get ammunition no more, so there's some flags. People aren't going to tell you the truth because the truth steps on your toes, and they're going to lose viewers. I'll probably lose viewers over this. But I'm going to tell you, if you want the truth, then open up your eyes, open up your ears, close your mouth, and listen and absorb. You're not going to get it all. It's not all for you. But if the shoe fits, then you wear it. Take what you can use. Be like the horses and the cows in the field. Eat the grass that's good and get away from the big clumps, because that goes in one of these things. I mean, come on, folks, wake up. Now, if people are narcissistic and they're telling you their way is the right way and it's the only way, 100% beyond a shadow of a doubt, well then check them out, find out, look into it. But if they're favoriting their own stuff, they're not sharing with you other possibilities, they're not telling you how devastatingly bad things really are going to be, well, guess what? Guess what? They're probably just trying to get some numbers. They're probably trying to make a buck. I mean, really, folks. And if people are just stuck on themselves, they might be leading you astray. Not that they would mean to, because like I said, every man's ways is right in his own eyes. People want to help you. People really do. A lot of the opinions and a lot of the concepts that are being shared, a lot of the dreams, a lot of the, dare I say, prophetic views, a lot of people out here really do have a voice. They really are concerned. And a lot of them are afraid and running in fear because maybe they're missing something. They're missing something. And the fact is when people just have a tendency to, how do I say this? When people have a tendency to overreact to something because of their own thinking, and you follow that same track, you're going right off. The blind leading the blind. It's a scary thought, but that's where we're at. People don't want to tell you what's the truth because they know you're not going to watch it. They know they're going to get thumbs down. They know their subscriber base is going to go away. How can you support somebody you know is telling a lie? If you catch somebody in a lie and you know beyond a shadow of a doubt that it's not possible what they say, that it is a lie,
Why do you support that? And why do people get into arguments, negative comments, and slang? Is it for the attention you can draw to your own channel? Perhaps. You know, it's a crazy world. It really is. The point is, be careful who you're listening to. Just because they sound right, just because they paint you a picture that goes along with your belief system, just because they paint you a picture that clicks with something you've heard. Be safe. Be smart. Check it out for yourself. Don't follow after foolishness. Don't follow after pride and arrogance. Don't follow after those that are trying to make a buck. Seriously. Follow after the truth. The truth will set you free. Anything else goes in the head. That's bad. Put it in there. The garbage. Put it in there. It's not worth your time. Y'all, this is Photo Helix trying to tell you, just think for yourself. Quit following after all of these so-calleds. Have your own experience. Learn. Because the things that are coming, economy, probably down the tubes in one of these things. Yeah, facts. Politics? Come on, seriously? Are you still asleep? If you can't see what's going on? It's a sad world we live in. Nobody wants to know the truth. All they talk about. And they'll point the finger at everybody. It's their own self-unassurance. Those are the ones you have to feel sorry for. Really. Quit following after these so-called preachers that are teaching you garbage. Don't get me wrong. There's some people out there telling you the truth. There really are. There's some trying to help you. I'm trying to help you. But I'm not going to get no money or no advertising on it. I'm not going to tell you to stock up on money, because no matter how much gold you got, in a time when people are starving, my loaf of bread will be worth more gold than you got. It's true. Water, precious. Can't live without that. But silver, dink. A lot of people, you can use gold and silver to barter with. You don't need that to buy your food and water. I'm going to tell you what, if there's a shortage of food, there ain't no amount of money of any kind that you got is going to buy my food. It's fine. It's fine. There are things that are useful that people will trade for. Bows and arrows would be something to start investing in, wouldn't it? They'll be outlawing that next. Folks, seriously. You gotta remember the things they've already taken away. And remember the arrogance of man in general. People just like to hear themselves. That's a flag. That means that person's probably a false teacher. Oh, they mean well. Many of them mean well. But just a little power, a little recognition is all it takes for someone to become prideful and arrogant. Again, folks, I ain't nothing. Really, I ain't. But the ones that think they are, well, they're just as blind as the ones they're trying to lead. It's a sad place we're in. Things are getting crazy. And only going to get worse. Y'all, Photo Helix. I hope you find your way. Thanks to all my subscribers, all my friends, wonderful comments. Thank you most of all for all your prayers. I need that more than anything. You ain't got nothing to pray about? Pray for me and my family. Seriously. May God bless you and keep you.